Bond. James Bond.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Did we just become best friends?
Yup! Sublime!
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Tear me apart, Lisa!
But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of You Haven't Seen That, a movie discussion podcast where we introduce our friend Ben to movies he should have seen a long time ago. I'm your host, Amanda.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm Ben.
And today,
we'll do it live.
Yes, one of our fun, rare occasions throughout the year where we get to record together in person.
Love it.
So today we're doing our top 10 TV shows of the year.
TVs.
Don't worry for all of you movie lovers. We will be doing our top 10 movies next week. So you can look forward to that. All right, Ben, why don't you give us a little bit of like an overview of the year in TV since you're our expert.
I will give my thoughts. These are not, I would not necessarily say that this is how everybody feels. Here's how I felt about the year in TV. I felt like it could be broken up into 3 seasons. I felt like in the winter, like January to maybe April, May, end of the Emmys cut off. It felt like a lot of shows that were very high profile were coming back. I remember sitting at this live recording last year talking about all the TV shows that were coming back, and they were ones that people loved. Severance, The White Lotus, The Last of Us, Hacks. And all of those came back in the first half of 2025. And yet I think for the most part, some of them are on my list, but I think for the most part, people felt like most of them were not as good as previous seasons of those shows. So I felt like it was a lot of hype for these shows returning, and yet everybody, to varying degrees with varying shows and different people, I feel like most people would agree that most of them were maybe not at their peak.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So that was, I feel like the first part of the year. Then the summer I felt was like a vast wasteland of garbage. It was so, and I should mention the first half of the year did have some major critically acclaimed things pop up too, like The Studio and Adolescence and stuff like that really captured the zeitgeist as far as new shows. Then the summer I felt like was a real barren, when your favorite 2 shows from the summer, which spoiler, neither of one is on my list, are The Hunting Wives and The Summer I Turned Pretty. It was not a great time in the summer for TV. I felt like it was in some ways almost more barren than the COVID slowdown and the strike slowdown. I felt like what is happening here? Just nothing that interesting. There were some things that came out, but nothing for me personally that was super interesting. Or every year I feel like the summer at least has a couple shows,
at least one show, like almost like a blockbuster kind of show.
And that was not the case. And then in the fall, I thought the fall was very interesting because the broadcast networks didn't return a lot of things. There weren't a lot of high profile returning shows, but there were a lot of new shows on streaming and premium that I think people were excited about. And for the large part, a lot of them lived up to what people were hoping for. So there was, I feel like, the first half was the first part of the year was these high profile returning. Summer was just nothing. And then fall was a lot of high profile new ones. And when there's a lot of high profile new ones, sometimes people end up very disappointed because you don't know what they're going to turn out with. But I feel like a lot of the ones that people were like, oh, this will probably be good, actually turned out to be good.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt about this year. I don't think it was the strongest year ever, but I was trying to think if I thought it was stronger or less strong than last year. I think I would say this year was a little bit stronger than last year.
I would agree with you from the limited amount of TV that I watch.
I was going to say, when I was looking at my list and just looking at it from my sort of selfish perspective, I watched roughly the same number of shows, maybe a couple more than I did last year. Slightly about the same number of new seasons of TV. It was 9 last year, 10 this year, and far fewer limited series this year than last year.
Was rough.
Outside of one major exception. But when looking at my list, your point, Ben, when you mentioned that, I was looking at my list and I'm like, okay, of my top 10, I think there are 7 that came out before June 1st or finished before June 1st during that Emmys run. So I kind of agree with you. It wasn't until kind of, and yes, there were a couple of shows from like the summer that I dug, mostly because that's my style of TV that I gravitate towards, is that kind of the casual comedies that you'll hear me talk about in my list. But I'm kind of like weirdly not super hyped about the fall slate. Now, granted, there are a couple exceptions that Amanda and I have not gotten to and have missed. I feel like it's important that I put it as a disclaimer sort of initially. Amanda, what do you
Mhm.
think? Should I put it as a disclaimer?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The ones you haven't
Let
seen.
let the people know what we didn't
Yeah.
see that we
Okay.
wanted to see.
And I will say before that, there's nothing on my literally there's nothing I want to see that I haven't seen.
Perfect.
So when we get to movies, I'll have a list like that. But with TV, anything I was interested in, I saw.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put this as a big disclaimer for Amanda and I. We have not seen Pluribus yet, and we have not seen the new season of Stranger Things yet. We also haven't seen, let's see what I got. Season 2 of Man on the Inside. We have not watched Your Friends and Neighbors. We haven't watched The Lowdown yet. We haven't seen Andor, haven't seen It Welcome to Derry. So there are a couple that we've missed that I would say circle and put emphasis towards. I'm like, oh, when I catch up with Pluribus, because we'll resubscribe to Apple TV Plus when Shrinking comes out. When Shrinking season 3 comes out, that's when we'll catch up on Pluribus.
Mhm.
But for the sake of this conversation, we have missed those. By our Emmys discussion next summer, if y'all are still with us, we will certainly be including Pluribus at that point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
I was trying to, I think I was somewhere around the 60s as far as shows I've seen, which seems crazy, but it's probably like well less than I did like a few years ago before I had a child. So that might sound crazy, but it really isn't for me. But anything that I have nothing I would be like, oh, but I haven't seen this yet.
Right.
Mhm.
I have not finished Pluribus
Mhm.
because it's not out yet fully.
Right.
That's the only one I think that I haven't finished that I would be notable. But
Gotcha. And you don't like Stranger Things.
I
so
don't like Stranger Things.
You did not
No,
watch that.
I did not.
Did not actually see that, yeah.
Granted, I don't know. I haven't heard much about whether this newest season is
Right.
actually good or not, and like if people are liking it. But
I
anyway,
know-
just throwing it out there.
It's not all out yet either.
Yeah, I was about to
No, I
say
know.
As of this recording.
part 2, or I guess drop number 2 will be coming out on Christmas. So this episode will be out before that. So we'll have just missed part 1. I only know like one semi spoiler about part 1, but that's it. I think up to this point. So
Cool.
I mean, we did all see the play though.
We did. If you want to hear more about that, you can tune into our Broadway episode from this summer. Hear all of the thoughts on the shows that we went to together. All right, so let's get into our list. We will start with number 10, and Ben, you can kick us off.
All right. My number 10 is Abbott Elementary. I did not put Abbott on my list last year. And it's very hard to compare a broadcast comedy to streaming shows, especially streaming dramas. But, you know, when you're thinking about like a 6-episode limited series or some that were 4 episodes this year, compared to Abbott putting out 20 plus episodes a season or in a calendar year, however you want to think about it. And I'm like, so do a few duds out of 20. Like, that's kind of where I knocked Abbott last year and dropped down into my honorable mentions. And I don't think this fall has been super strong for Abbott, but I thought the end of last season, the spring of 2025, end of the 4th season, was really strong. I thought they had a lot of good ongoing storylines. I thought Janelle James as Ava had her best season ever.
Agreed.
I found it very funny. This fall, they just need to be in the school a little bit more. They're going out so many places. And
we'll just wait until they're back and all of a sudden they're at a mall.
Yeah. So I think this is a show in its 5th season, and some of it is showing its age, but it's still hitting high marks on a very consistent basis. And for a broadcast show in its 5th season, it's done over 100 episodes. I think that's worth celebrating. So it's my number 10.
I agree with you 100%.
Sure.
This was one of my honorable mentions. I love the show very, very much, and it was very close to my top 10. Just the sheer appreciation of the show for what you said, putting out 20 episodes a season, it's amazing in today's day and age. And to stand out, especially as a broadcast show in the age of premier streaming TV, is amazing. I think the writing is incredible. They're so close to that 100 episode kind of goal for a broadcast show, which is super exciting. And I'll be with them all the way to the end. I think they've earned that for me for sure. So it won't be in my top 10, but that doesn't mean I didn't love Abbott this year.
Yeah, and this was in my just missed. So essentially I had picked out my favorite top 12, and then there were 2 that just didn't make the cut. And this was one of them.
This was very close to not being on my list. I kind of bounced between this being number 10 and number 11, and I'll get to what number 11 is, but I ultimately decided to reward it because I felt a little guilty for knocking it out last year for some bad episodes when I'm like, yeah, but it still does enough good episodes to match any 6 or 8 episodes streaming series.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
I think it was on my list last year.
I think it was.
It was on my list last year.
So
we just flipped this time.
I still, it's still such a good show. It's really funny. I think, nothing more to add of what you guys have already said.
Yeah.
Geoff, your number 10?
So my number 10 is Severance. I enjoyed Severance very, very much. It was fun to watch a TV show where everybody was tuning in every week, or it felt like everybody was tuning in every week again. And I think the production quality of Severance is second to none. It truly, truly stands out amongst so many TV shows nowadays. The isolated performances, specifically from Tramel Tillman and Brett Lauer, were spectacular and stand out amongst any other TV show from this year. I didn't think it was as good as season 1, and I think that's kind of universally agreed, but that's okay. I'm cool with that. And the reason why I maybe picked this show over other ones that maybe just missed is because the highs were so high. Much like you did, Ben, last year with The Bear.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a whole, maybe there were some other seasons that could have topped this, but I think episode 4, episode 7, and the finale for Severance were so good and among some of my favorite overall TV episodes of the year that it was impossible for me not to put this on my list. So Severance is my number 10.
Cool.
Severance was my other just missed.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
You guys.
You just knocked those both out.
And Amanda's got nothing to talk about at the end of this episode. That's okay.
No, I still have honorable mentions.
Okay.
But yes, Severance was my other just missed. I do think it's a very good show, but this second season just didn't capture me quite as much as the first season did. And it's to the point where I'm getting annoyed at it because there's so many questions and we're not getting any answers. And I just really want some answers from the show at this point.
I will say my ranking of Severance might be changing in a couple of years if we have to wait 3 years for a third season. Like, come on.
Severance did not make my top 10, nor was it in my honorable mentions. I hear what you're saying about the high highs, and that actually is going to play into my number 9 when we get to that. And for Severance, I feel like it was like the low lows really just knocked it out for me. Like, I loved that one where they went on the retreat. I thought that episode was really fascinating. It really lost me the second half of the season, though. And the finale maybe redeemed it slightly, but boy, I hated those couple episodes leading up to the finale.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for me, it's just getting a little convoluted and not an interesting enough way for me.
Yeah.
I'm not even 100% sure I'm going to watch the third season when it comes out, because I really was kind of really checked out with it by the end of the second season.
Yeah. Their third season needs to be the end.
They
need to wrap it up and just be the end.
Yeah.
Especially if they're going to take this long.
I know. The length between seasons is insane.
All right. My number 10 is Adolescence. This is a show that I enjoyed watching and also didn't enjoy watching at the same time.
Why?
Definitely a fascinating case study into, unfortunately something that is happening more and more, but obviously the acting, especially from, I apologize, I don't know his name, but the young kid.
Owen Cooper.
Yes, Owen Cooper. Thank you. Him and his dad, like, the acting just overall was outstanding. The production value was really great. Overall, I had to put it at the bottom just because, I don't know, like limited series trying to stack it up to like a whole season of TV. Plus, it just kind of made me sad. So while it was very interesting, it also made me sad. So it gets number 10.
Yeah. Adolescence is an honorable mention for me. I think a lot of TV critics are probably going to put it in their top 5. And, it's very well done. It's very, gripping, but it was a tough watch.
Yeah.
And I don't know. For me, it was like This is one of those things where I appreciate everything about the artistry. I just don't know that I loved it so much. But I really appreciated it. I thought it was really well done.
Yes.
I don't know if it was completely for me, but it was thought-provoking, and like you said, the performances were really impressive.
I'll be saving more of my thoughts for adolescence a little bit later, but I agree with both of your points to an extent, of course, because I have it higher up on my list. And yeah, the production value is incredible for it. I think the way that the show is done, the chemistry between Owen and Stephen Graham, or the one-off episodes, I like the directions at which it took, and that I was caught off guard with each episode, and I really appreciated it and the way its narrative was drawn out. So I'll have more thoughts to share in a little bit.
I am impressed. One other thing, that like the being a one-shot thing didn't feel gimmicky.
Yep.
Which you'd think it would. Like I kind of rolled my eyes when I first heard about it, but in execution, it didn't seem gimmicky.
No, not at all.
Yeah. And remind me again, were all the episodes were not one shots, were they? Or
All
were
of them
all
were.
of them
All of
were?
them were,
Okay.
yeah.
I couldn't remember. I remembered in the studio there was the one episode.
There was the one episode, right?
Called The Oneer.
Yeah. So I just thought it was one episode with this too.
No,
but
it was all four.
yeah, no, it's just so impressive.
It is impressive.
Like, one shots are crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, you're number 9.
My number 9, as I was saying to Geoff a minute ago when he talks about the high highs, definitely plays into here. My number 9 is season 2 of The Last of Us, which was not super loved by people. Right. But I think people have put a sour note on it. And the thing I remember is that second episode of this season
it's extraordinary.
The greatest episode of the year.
It's extraordinary.
And that's what people were saying when it first came out. And then people started to not like the rest of the season. I think they kind of forgot about just how good that was. And it's sort of like what I said with The Bear last year, where like, how can I have my number 1 episode of the year not be in a show that's in my top 10?
Right, exactly.
And it wasn't just that episode too, but that episode was extraordinary. I mean, the stuff with Joel and that was just brilliant. But so was the attack on Jackson, which was the same episode.
Yes,
it was a stunning cinematic achievement. And then, but for me, I also liked other things in the season. I liked the flashback episode. I liked Caitlin Dever. I know she's a terrible character, but she did it really well. And I think it got a little unfairly maligned for its second season. I know the story felt a little unfocused. It felt a little meandering at times. I know people had the complaints about it connected to the game, and probably some of the same complaints people had about the game for the season. But I still felt like it was a very strong season of television. And like you said with Severance, Geoff, I also loved the feeling of everybody watching something at the same time. And that's how it felt. And I know that's not actually the case like it used to be back in the 90s, but everybody I follow, like on the social media and stuff, the types of people I follow, everybody was watching The Last of Us. And when those big episodes happened, especially the second one, felt like an event. And to me, like that was the episode of the year. So I had to put it on there.
No, totally makes sense why you would do that. It did not make my honorable mentions, though you do present a compelling case for it for sure. Because I agree with you 100% about that second episode. Like, it was insanely well done. I did not love the back half of the season, though, in the meandering of it. And I'm sure, with the game, it's got tied to that for sure. And I know that's like a big focus of the game. But I did love Caitlin Dever in this season. I think the way they used Pedro Pascal was effective in his, spoiler alert, very brief time in the season. But yeah, I just thought overall it wasn't as good as the first season outside of the one highlight from episode 2. So it wouldn't have made my list. But I can completely understand why it's on yours. That's for sure.
And I did not watch this show. So
what?
I have
crazy.
It's not on my list and I don't have any thoughts. Geoff, let's hear your number 9.
My number 9 is The Righteous Gemstones season 4. Great final season. I was so happy to spend the last 5 years with this ridiculous, insane family that just made me laugh. I'm so happy that the show helped me discover Edie Patterson, helped me appreciate Walton Goggins a lot more than I already did. I think a big surprise with this season was Sean William Scott in a semi-dramatic role, weirdly enough. I was like, wow, this is an amazing surprise. It makes me very happy. So I think that the show as a whole would have been perfect if it had ended on season 3, and I think they probably assumed that they would end at season 3, but I do like that they kind of took it a little one step further even with season 4, and I think they found the right way to, introduce new characters like Michael Rooker's character or whatever, and Sean William Scott's character. And even the prelude episode 1 with Bradley Cooper as a
that was a really good
quote-unquote
one.
gemstone. So well done. And completely caught off guard. It's like, oh wow, we're actually taking this in a serious direction. Like, we're getting kind of sentimental here. Like, what's about to happen here? And I think that Eli having his own sort of self-discovery during the season as well, I certainly appreciated that, and I love the direction that took. So big fan of The Righteous Gemstones. The production value also off the charts. I'm a big Danny McBride guy as well. So I love this final season of the show. So that's my number 9.
Yeah, I will have more to say about this show later.
Yeah, that's not surprising. For me, it did not make my top 10 or my honorable mentions. I do love The Righteous Gemstones, and I wish it ended at 3.
Mm-hmm.
The last season didn't totally work for me, but Edie, like you said, Edie Patterson and Walton Goggins are national treasures.
Yes.
And those characters are iconic.
Yep.
And oh my gosh. I mean,
you should do a group Halloween costume.
It's truly the greatest, like 2 of the greatest. Like Walton Goggins, that character is incredible. And then Edie Patterson is like a master of like has the most unique line readings. Like and it's like it reminds me so much of Matt Berry and Kanan Novak from What We Do in the Shadows, where like you just read, like if you were to read the line on the page and then hear how she delivers it is just unbelievable.
Yeah. She's incredible.
Yeah. I appreciate the show. I liked seasons 1 and 3 a lot more than 2 and 4.
That's fair.
Yeah. I need Danny McBride to now get on a new show where he casts all these people again. Because I also loved Vice Principals, which
only went 2 seasons and was great in those 2 seasons.
Yeah. So I need him to make a new one.
I'm still stunned that it never got awards recognition for being HBO.
It's insane.
That seems wild to me. Like if it was like stuck on some, obscure stars or something like that, like you could see it. But like to be an HBO show, an HBO comedy, and HBO shows always do well at the Emmys, and it never got any attention. I was gonna say,
now you would know this better than I do. Did Eastbound and Down ever do anything?
None of his stuff has really
been. Maybe that's the fact.
I don't know.
He's got a rift with Hollywood.
I guess that's true.
That's fair. He
films out of maybe
that's
part of it.
Yeah, I bet it is. I mean, it's all political.
Yeah.
My number 9 is The Bear. I enjoyed, this was season 3?
4.
Whoops. I enjoyed season 4 more than season 3. I thought that there was, it brought back a little bit of the stress of the first season, which is funny that I say that because I never watched The Bear when it first came out because I didn't want to be stressed. And I was like, I don't want to watch this show. It's going to make me stressed. And now, but then I was like kind of missing it. So I really enjoyed this new season. I feel like we're finally getting a little somewhere with some character growth with these people, which that's always one of the most frustrating parts of The Bear for me is like, you guys need to just learn to freaking communicate with each other. Oh my God. It would solve 90% of their problems. So I feel like we're taking a step in the right direction there.
That's fair. I was kind of a defender of The Bear season 3. It did make my top 10 last year when a lot of people didn't care for it. I didn't like season 4 as much as 3. I felt like it started to lose me a little bit. Still had some really nice moments. Didn't have as many high highs for me as 3. Maybe was more consistent though of a season. I did love, I just have to mention this because I don't have The Bear anywhere on my list, but when Carmi could not like do the math or that was like one of my favorite little comedic bits in a show that's not a comedy, everybody. But I thought that was so funny, that ongoing thing, then the attention to that. It's kind of dropping off for me a little bit, but I'm still going to watch season 5 for sure.
Oh, of course. This is an honorable mention for me. I think it's a step up from season 4. I think that I'm really excited to see where it goes in season 5. And there were definitely some high highs. Like episode 3 where the critic comes in and they kind of recreate the Chicago experience for that family that visits, or the big family episode that they always seem to have every single season, the hour-long one. So I enjoyed that one as well. So I think overall, I enjoyed The Bear very, very much. I'll always be back for episodes. I hope that the highs of seasons 1 and 2 are met, down the road. But who knows the level of Carmi involvement we'll get kind of going forward. So we'll see. But I like your pick, Amanda.
Wait, why?
Because of what happened in the
Because of what happened in the final episode.
Yeah, I definitely. Doesn't mean I remember every second of every episode, Ben.
He's giving up the.
He's giving.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Ben, what is your number 8?
We'll just move on. All right. Oh my gosh. My number 8, and this is. Oh, I didn't know what to do with this show. My number 8 is English Teacher. So English Teacher obviously has some off-screen problems. And I don't know what to make of all that. I don't, I've read about it, but I haven't done my own research. But there's obviously some pretty serious allegations against the creator. FX clearly, I don't quite understand what happened because they renewed it after all these allegations came out, but then they acted like they didn't want anything to do with it.
Right.
And they dropped it very quietly. I don't know. I feel like it gets dicey to start, trying to assess that kind of situation with what's happening on screen. So I don't know. I feel a little weird putting on my list, except that it was the funniest show on TV this year.
Yeah.
And that's and that's not excusing whatever behavior should those allegations be true. But, and maybe it's the best for everybody involved. It's not continuing. I just thought it was so freaking funny though. And I thought the second season for me was an improvement on the first season. Whereas the first season for me, I thought had some ups and downs. I thought the second season was just hilarious. I thought the ensemble, the Brian Jordan Alvarez, who's the one at the creator, but also the one who's, the accused here. He's probably my least favorite part of the show as far as the main character.
This character sucks.
The character's kind of annoying, but the other characters were so funny. And shout out to Carmen Christopher, who was leveled up big time in this season. The episode where they go to the principal's house and they think that the daughter's boyfriend is gay was just so funny. The one with the where they had to do the accreditation was so funny. The student taking the test with the accommodations was
incredible.
I just felt like it was so funny this season. The lock-in, yes.
Yep.
It just the way Stephanie Koenig, I can't think of her character's name, but the way she was about the exit, saying that she hopes they die and stuff like that. It was just it was such a funny show. I think if it wasn't for all the off-screen things, I'd be really, really sad it was over after just 2 seasons. Like I said, maybe it's best for everybody involved.
Yeah.
But it was funny. And I just was like, I feel like it'd be disingenuous for me. Maybe you could be, I know some people who couldn't even watch it because they were, alarmed by those allegations. I fully respect that. But for me to have watched it and then not put it on my top 10 would have been disingenuous when I thought it was the best comedy.
Yeah.
It's not my highest rating in comedy, but the funniest comedy of the year. For me.
Yeah.
I'll have plenty. I echo a lot of what you're saying. English Teacher is also on my list, and I'll briefly talk about it more because I'll go a little bit further into it. But yeah, I loved this show. I thought the second season was absolutely on par with season 1 for sure. And yeah, my note was Carmen Christopher, way to step up. That was my big note. And yes, I'm sad it's ending, but I think that the chemistry that the cast has, the uniqueness that the cast has, I know the school is set in Texas. It almost feels very Austin. I've never visited Austin, but I'm like, this definitely feels like kind of a bubble of Austin in terms of the gym teacher character paired with the other teachers. It just makes so much sense. The principal being just the way he is also amazing. And the
retiring in 15 years.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So good. No, I I agree with you about all the highs from the various episodes. I love that we just spent so much time there being like, oh yeah, this episode, because it was great.
Yeah.
So
we didn't even talk about the first episode, which was like
Right.
so ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, it's
COVID musical.
so good. So yeah, English teacher is coming up a little bit later on my list. I won't talk as much then, but yeah, it's also
I'll have more to say about it later too. I will say, and I'll probably say it then too, but like I didn't actually know about all this like controversy
Right.
with the show. It wasn't until after we watched season 2 and Ben, you sent Jeff and I a text that it was getting canceled. And then I kind of like did a little deep dive into this and I was like, oh, okay.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate in so many ways, but
for sure. Absolutely. But yeah, more on that later.
Yeah.
Geoff, your number 8.
My number 8 is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, season 17. It's just one of those shows where it's like the quality, yes, the production value is never there for It's Always Sunny, intentionally so, but it never it's very hard for the show to not make me laugh in every single bit. I mean, some of these episodes were some of the funniest things I had seen all year. The episode where they're working in the ambulance and they're microdosing on hot peppers, or the second episode where Frank falls into a coma and everybody just goes on so many different adventures, and Alex Wolff, the movie actor, shows up in like a brief role. It's just so funny when Frank goes on the dating show and Carol Kane shows up, and I was reminded of how amazing Carol Kane is, not just in here. I just rewatched Scrooge at our Alamo Draft House. They did a free screening of it, and Carol Kane's at that. I'm not a big fan of Scrooge. She is by far the best part of that movie. She is so funny. And the fact that now she's a part of the Always Sunny universe just makes me so happy. So I love this show. I know they can't keep going on with this forever because Caitlin Olsen's now
like they're going to try.
Please do. Because I know Caitlin Olsen's now a broadcast TV star, and Rob McElhenney's got his own things. Danny DeVito, they could probably write him up whenever, but like, and I know they kind of explored that, but yeah, I absolutely love this show, and I'm so happy to keep going with this ride and everything. And I'm glad that they matched the highs of past seasons with this season. So this was my number 8.
This show did not make my list or my honorable mentions. I enjoy it, but Sunny for me is always like, I don't know. It's more misses a lot of the time than it is hits. I enjoy watching it, but it's not like my most favorite thing. And I think these later seasons for me have been definitely not as high as like the kind of original, I don't know what you would say the original series seasons are, maybe like 1 through 6 or so. But to me, those were like where the funniest, most iconic moments came out. And
Amen.
And now it's just kind of like they're trying to keep it alive.
Yeah.
And there's some good moments, but you know, it's
I just remember them going to a West
long.
Virginia dog track. Just insane. Anyway,
I've never watched Always Sunny. I did watch the Abbott Elementary episode with the Always Sunny people. I do know other critics who felt the way you did, Geoff, about, not personally, but I read their things, and I know like Alan Sepinwall, who's a very well-known TV critic, put it on his top 10 for the first time in years.
I will say the one
like this season was like a revival.
The only disappointment I had from this season was the Always Sunny side of the Abbott Elementary,
which I meant to watch and I never did.
It wasn't my favorite It's Always Sunny episode, which again, that is totally fine. I was slightly disappointed by it, but Quinta Brunson just goes off like and swears a bunch in the episode, and I'm like, this is hilarious.
I did hear both of them like took on the personality of their respective show.
Yes, big time. Yeah, it was very good. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. All right, my number 8 is The White Lotus. I kind of didn't know what to do with this show.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it made it on my list last year. It probably did because I didn't watch that much TV last year. But this season I felt like there were a lot of good moments in this season. Even though we didn't have Jennifer Coolidge to entertain us.
Right.
We had Parker Posey, who was a good replacement. Nami. Yeah, so it's a show. I always have fun with the White Lotus. I'm always,
It's like what Jennifer Coolidge says at the beginning of season 2. I always have a great time when I come to the White Lotus.
exactly. It's always fun. I'm always intrigued just enough by the murder and trying to figure out what's gonna happen.
Right.
This season felt extra dramatic with
The Walton guy.
Isaac. No.
Oh,
What?
sorry.
What's his name? From Harry Potter. Isaac.
Oh, Jason Isaacs.
Jason Isaacs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We almost
Like-
killed his family.
Yeah. I mean, that was just crazy.
That was insane.
So it reminded me a little bit of kind of the dramatic craziness we got in the first season with the guy who ran the hotel who
Oh, yeah.
went crazy. But yeah, so I enjoyed this one.
I'll have more to say about the White Lotus later,
Nice.
but I agree. It's always a good time when you go to the White Lotus.
It's not on my list. It's not on my honorable mentions, but I have a good time with the show. It's
Yeah.
I go out of it. Parker Posey, you're real MVP.
All right, Ben, you're number 7.
My number 7 is Death by Lightning.
Oh yes, this was your most anticipated
It
of the
was.
second half of the year.
And it's dad TV at its finest.
Amazing.
It's about the murder of not Andrew Garfield. It's about the assassination of James Garfield. As you may have heard, I accidentally said Andrew Garfield when I was talking about the show.
That was
and
the
then
funniest.
only 4 episodes, like adolescence. This was one that I actually felt like should have been probably 6, but I do wish I would rather have a limited series run too short than run too long, because I'm so tired of 8-episode limited series not having enough plot to put in their in their story, or not enough story to put into 8 episodes. So this is a really excellent. Have either of you watched this?
We've not watched it.
Okay,
I want to. That'd be
I'm not really spoiling anything. I mean, this is a president who got assassinated. But
Andrew Garfield.
It's a really great cast. Michael Shannon, Matthew McFadden from Succession. Nick Offerman is fantastic in this as Chester A. Arthur, who becomes president. He's the vice president. Betty Gilpin. Oh, what's his name? I'm losing some of the other actors, but it's a really great cast. And it felt like one of the things I really liked about this show was it felt like so many times period pieces can feel a little stuffy, a little kind of dry. And this one felt very engaging, and it was a part of history I didn't know about. I mean, I read U.S. history things. I know a fair amount about the presidents.
Yeah,
nobody really knows anything about James Garfield it's all that
he got shot
post Civil War. I feel like nobody knows anything from between post Civil War to World War One, and it's in that frame where they just had all those presidents. I mean, how many people know things about James Garfield or Rutherford B. Hayes or Chester A. Arthur? It's like that period of presidents where nobody knows anything about them. So it was a very fascinating time period to look at 1880. And it was but it also didn't feel stuffy or stodgy. It felt very engaging, very intriguing. They'd spend almost an entire episode on the convention when he gets nominated and just the mechanisms of that. So my only complaint, which I know is a complaint a lot of people had, was the 4th episode, the last episode, tries to pack 3 episodes worth of plot into it.
That's tough.
And so I just wish it had been 6. I don't know why it wasn't 6. I don't know if there's production issues or what happened with that, but really fun show.
Nice.
And a very quick watch.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Sorry to all of our historians out there that we're not as well versed in post Civil War U.S. history.
No, I know. I learned a lot in this show.
Nice.
Yeah. And as we said, neither Geoff nor I watched that.
Yeah. I think Geoff might like it.
I probably will.
I wouldn't.
No, I don't think you would.
All right, Geoff, you're number 7?
My number 7 is Adults. This
Woo!
So I know this one's coming up on Amanda's list a little bit later. So
there's one thing to be sure of on the list is going to be Adults.
So this was a wonderful surprise. This was the show that probably caught me off guard the most in terms of how much I was going to like it. This is my most rewatched show of the year. It's one of the only 2025 episodes and shows that I've actually gone back to and rewatched since it's aired. This was my first of 3 seasons. Sorry, words. First of 3 debut seasons of TV on my list, and the cast chemistry is incredible. Some of the line readings are just iconic. The episodes, which episodes here? Episode 3, where Anton has to try to be a witness for a murder or help the cops out there and is making too many friends, or when Julia Fox randomly shows up. Matt Murdock's in this too. Like, it's an incredible show. It's so funny. It's coming back for a second season. I love the cast. I'm so excited to grow with this cast. I heard the initial comp was like, this is a Gen Z or Gen Alpha Friends, and I can see it 100%, but I am so on the show's wavelength. Some of the line reads are just amazing. I love the show so much. I can't wait for the next season.
Yeah. I'll have a lot to say about this later.
Yep. Perfect.
Jeff and Amanda were the ones who told me I had to watch Adults. I wasn't going to watch it. It did not make my top 10 or my honorable mentions, but I did enjoy it. I did find it fun.
All we could ask for.
And it has a lot of funny episodes. The one you mentioned, Jeff, but also I loved the one with the dinner where she made the dinner.
Yep. So good.
I think it has a lot of potential. I'm glad it's coming back for a second season. And I think it was fun. I think like you were saying with the Gen Alpha Friends or whatever, like, it's been interesting with these types of shows, like Friends. I was younger than the characters, and I was a kid watching these 20-something-year-old, and then I felt like our contemporary version of that was probably like New Girl.
Yes, that's a good comment.
And now, now these guys seem much younger. So it's just interesting to see my relation to these characters, like in these 20-something hangout shows. But yeah, fun show. Big fan.
Yeah, I didn't know actually that, like, when we started watching it, I didn't know if I would find it all that funny or be able to relate to it because the characters feel so young.
Yes. And it's definitely better than I Love LA, which is another one that's on HBO right now.
Like, circled. I'm like, I've kind of feeling, I'm like, is this kind of like a newer, like almost Entourage-esque show?
Yeah, it's got elements like that, but it's also it does have some adults similarities. I don't think it's as funny though.
Okay. Good to know. Thanks.
All right. And then my number 7 is The Chair Company, which Jeff and I just finished recently. Ben, did you watch it?
I did.
Okay. You watched the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay. So this one was like, I didn't know what to expect from it. It's a Tim Robinson TV show. And I think this is like his first real like TV show.
Well, he's done some stuff in the past. I think Detroiters was his first big show.
I think You Should Leave.
But this is his first like big post. I Think You Should Leave sort of experiment.
Right.
Yeah.
And I Think You Should Leave is kind of like a different like
type of
So I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, this is on the heels of his movie Friendship this year. And I enjoy his style of comedy, but sometimes he just makes me very anxious just because of the way he is. I very much enjoyed that he was able to be his kind of crazy nuthouse kind of character, but also restrain himself and like actually feel like he was a real person.
He was like the semi-sane character.
Yeah, like sometimes he seems so much like a caricature. I just didn't know how it was going to come off in like a real kind of semi-serious TV show. But I actually ended up really liking it.
Yeah.
It went a lot of places.
Sure did.
Oh yeah.
But I was very intrigued by this mystery. I was hooked. I wanted to keep watching and see where it would end up. So yeah, I really ended up enjoying this. And I think, Jeff, you said there's going to be a second season, right?
Yes,
So
it's been really good.
I mean, we didn't get the answer really. So I'm here for more.
This did not make my list. It was interesting, but I think Tim Robinson's not quite my vibe. I never watched I Think You Should Leave. I did watch Friendship, and I did watch this year, thinking I could get into Tim Robinson, and I don't think I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just, I like Nathan Fielder, who is often compared to him.
Who will be coming up later.
Yeah.
Alert.
I didn't watch the rehearsal, but I've seen it. I saw The Curse, obviously. And I was like thinking this could be my because I feel like I've gotten into liking weirder stuff a little more. I don't think I've gotten this far into liking weirder stuff. Maybe sometime it will be more. It just wasn't quite my brand of humor.
Yeah.
This was my number 11. Just missed the cut on my list. I loved this debut season. It just went in so many weird directions. It's so absurd, and I was very much on the show's wavelength the entire time. I never knew what to expect. There were some characters I was like, "Oh my gosh, this character is so weird," or "This storyline is so weird," or they try to get sentimental, and then they're like, "LOL, you are watching a Tim Robinson comedic show, so here you go." But I did enjoy this season very, very much. It was my first cut.
Yeah. And I will say, just for the record, even though my list will not reflect this, I actually do prefer Nathan Fielder to Tim Robinson, only because Nathan Fielder makes. But anywho, Ben, you're number 6.
My number 6 is Hacks. Hacks was a top 3 show for me last year. And I love Hacks. I love that show. This was not the strongest season for Hacks, but it was still a great season. It was the best season for Hannah Einbinder.
Yep.
And I think that's saying something, because when that show started, it was like the Gene Smart show featuring this other little actress. And with each passing season, she's become more and more of an equal to Gene Smart.
Yep.
And I felt like this year she not only equaled her, but in some ways surpassed her in this particular season. Because I thought Gene Smart didn't have as much to do or as much good material. Obviously, she's Gene Smart and she will crush anything she's given. But
Snow Day.
Like Snow Day. But Hannah Einbinder, I'm so glad she won the Emmy for this.
Finally.
And I thought she was just exceptional this year. I would be happy if season 5, which is supposedly the last season, I'd be happy if it does not involve a major fight between the two of them, because I think we're going back to that well one too many times. I think that was a real problem at the beginning of this season. And but it is so well done. It is so spectacularly put together. The writing, the guest stars, the production values. I'm going to be very sad when the show is done. It's been like a consistent, and it's come out every year except for the one year with, when Gene Smart had the health problems. But it's been a very consistent post-COVID show in a time where Severance is only taking 3 years to come out. Like just every spring I have Hacks to look forward to, and I really love the show, and I'm hopeful as it kind of heads towards a finish point that it will land the plane well. But so not the strongest season for Hacks. Similar to the Righteous Gemstones, I like seasons 1 and 3 more than 2 and 4. But I'm very hopeful for the finale, and I want to give big props to Hannah Einbinder for an exceptional season.
That's a real testament to the show that you're like, this wasn't its strongest season, but it's still my number 6.
Yeah. Yep.
You came off right at the beginning of the episode being like, I watched this, 60 plus seasons of TV this year, or however many. So it's like, yeah, that is a true testament to the show. It will be coming up later on my list. I am so on this show's wavelength. Yep. This is the perfect blend of like comedy and drama for me, and it taps into all of my interests. I think there are some other characters I will shout out later when we get to that point, and I can talk about it maybe a little bit more, but echo everything you say. I think that your point about the conflict angle, I don't think we're going to get that in this final season.
I hope we don't.
Because of the way they framed the season finale with them traveling abroad and then coming back. I feel like they're both on the same page.
And it was a very unusual choice for the season finale.
Very
unusual,
like
a season premiere.
It felt like It felt like a season premiere. It felt like episode 9, which was one of the best episodes of the year.
Felt like the finale.
Yes. So
yes.
But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes in season 5.
Yeah. I will have more to say on this later as well. But yes, agree with everything that has been said. I absolutely loved the part where Hannah has that like freak out. I think it maybe was what they showed when she won the award.
Yes.
Did she throw the food at the window or whatever?
Yes, and then when she goes,
like, never get Brandy. Travel well. I don't know why that part was so funny, but
so good.
I did really love them having Gene Smart like stand up to the studio, and I agree with you, Ben. I think the fighting between them needs to stop. I am over it. they need to have character growth here and like move on and be friends
I'm
from
going to
here
be
on
very
out.
disappointed if there's like a huge blow up in the next season. Like
For
that's
sure.
going to be like, I feel like the show is better than that.
Yes, incredibly. I could kind of forgive it a little bit with this season just because like they're in a new environment with
Yeah.
new pressures and, you know, external people changing things in their dynamic, but I agree. I'm a little bit over it. So, all right, Geoff, you're number 6.
My number 6 is English teacher.
There it is.
So, and said a lot, everything there. But again, just to reiterate, on par with season 1. I'm really sad the show is ending for creative reasons, not behind the scenes reasons. But yeah, big shout out to the entire cast. I think their chemistry is incredible. Great show.
All right. My number 6 is The Righteous Gemstones.
Amazing.
We're starting to hit these repeats.
Amazing.
Yes. I enjoyed this as a wrap up to the series. I enjoyed the new characters. I felt like there actually was a little bit of character growth. I never expected there to be a ton of character growth with these characters because they're so childish. But I felt like there was some. And like Geoff mentioned, that first episode of the season was unexpected and really good.
Yeah.
So interesting. Like, whoa, where is this season going to go? But
Bradley Cooper, that was his first of 2 unexpected cameos in 2025. Second one being Superman. He plays Superman's dad.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant like TV, and I was like,
oh no,
I know. I was
sorry.
trying to think that.
I'm just throwing everything out there. Apologies, everybody.
Save that for the movie podcast.
Sorry. All relevant.
So, anyways, yes, Righteous Gemstones, such a good show. I'm glad that they wrapped up the story, but I'm sad to not have these characters to watch anymore.
Yep.
All right, Ben, let's hear your number 5.
My number 5 is The White Lotus. And this is one of those, like, it's a victim of being compared to itself.
Yes.
Because I think if this show was brand new in 2025, I would have been obsessed.
Yep.
But the first season, I didn't make top 10s back then, but the first season would have certainly been my number 1 of 2021. And the second season would very likely have been number 1 or 2 of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
This third season was my least favorite of the 3, but I still love it. And I still was very, very into watching it on Sunday nights. Like, it was like, and this is not a show I would wait and watch a couple days later or anything. I would watch it that night because I had to know what was happening. I didn't want to get spoiled on it. The cast was outstanding, as they always are. I mean, we talked about Parker Posey and Oscar Isaac. Not Oscar Isaac, Jason Isaacs. I cannot get these actors right.
That's the name I had stuck in my head when I was trying to think of it. And I was like, not the right name.
But we didn't even Walter Goggins we talked about, but we didn't even talk about Amy Lee Wood. We didn't talk about
Carrie
Coon, Michelle Monaghan. Like, I mean, it is just an exceptional cast.
Who's his face? Sam Rockwell?
Leslie Bibb, Sam Rockwell. And, you know, it was, you know, Mike White has such a unique perspective on things and take on things. And it did feel unfocused to me this season. It was still fascinating. Like, it was still like interesting, the different topics he wanted to explore. And the Thailand setting was very unique and different.
Yeah.
Or Taiwan, whatever. Whatever Parker Posey thinks it is. I'm very thrilled. I was thrilled to have a new season of The White Lotus. I think, you know, I don't disagree with people who might have felt disappointed by this, but it's in my opinion, it's only comparing it to itself, not comparing it to all of TV. It's still one of the best shows on TV on anytime it comes out. And I'm very excited to see who is in season 4 in France. The only name that's been rumored so far is Helena Bonham Carter.
Ooh, that's fun.
Interesting.
But I'm sure we'll be getting more information very soon because I think they're going to be starting filming at the beginning or pretty early into 2026.
Awesome.
Cool. I didn't know that they were going to be in France.
Yeah, like south of France.
Yeah, I figured.
There's a lot of people who speculate that Mike White wants to do, that the White Lotus would do like a snowy vacation.
Oh,
And I think
Aspen,
that'd
that
be
would be sick.
fascinating. I think that'd be great. But apparently,
Yeah.
Mike White hates snow,
No,
and so he does
fair
not
enough.
want to do some
Fair
sort of
enough.
winter retreat. But I think that would be a really
That
great
would be a lot of
season.
fun. I would
Oh,
love
would
to
you
see
have
that.
sexy people
I
in the
know.
snow?
He is. A lot of indoor hot tub scenes.
Yeah, right.
I would love to see that, but it sounds like that's not going to happen.
Oh, well, tell him to suck it up.
I'm also very curious if, depending on how long this goes, will they do an All Stars season?
Oh,
Because I've heard that rumor as
that is
well.
the series finale. Series
The
finale.
final season. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, and if they do, I mean, the one other thing I would just want to say, and then I'll stop talking about the White Lotus, is when I heard Parker Posey was joining the White Lotus, I was like, Parker Posey saying Mike White's dialogue is the greatest match in the history of TV, and it turned out to be true. Like, she did not disappoint. That character was so funny and really filled the Jennifer Coolidge void.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
All right, Geoff, let's hear your number 5.
So I'm going to counterpoint your chair company entry with The Rehearsal at number 5. The highs of The Rehearsal are so unbelievably high. The self-seriousness that Nathan Fielder brings to this, or the faux seriousness that he brings to this, is just amazing. And the lengths that he goes to with this show are just incredible. Man got certified to fly a Boeing plane for the content. Like, my man, you're amazing. This is so good. Absurd in the best way possible. The idea of trying to start it in one direction and then end it another way has carried over for both of the seasons of the show. And I think it was really effectively done with this one, where it was, okay, I'm going to look into flight safety. And then it was an exploration of Nathan Fielder and his behaviors and his health and what could be going on in his brain and the psyche about, oh, what should I say? What should I not say? Do I even want to know in my life? Like, the ideas that it brings up are so impactful and so effective. I love the show. From the highlights being the incorporation of Evanescence's Bring Me to Life and everyone with this is the funniest thing. Just unbelievable. And the fact that you think, like, wow, Sully Sullenberger was listening to the refrain of Bring Me to Life while he was prepping to land his plane in the Hudson. It was the funniest idea imaginable. The recreation of Sully Sullenberger's life with, like, weird figures and Nathan Fielder pretending to be a baby. The ending of the show with the doctor's results, or when he films, he goes to there's a whole, like, side plot in this where he goes to Paramount. He rehearses going to Paramount Studios to get censored episodes of Nathan For You re-aired on Paramount Plus, and he creates Paramount's headquarters, makes it look like a Nazi Germany base. It's insane. And just, oh my gosh, The Rehearsal is so good. I don't know where it could even go in the future, but the fact that he was able to Nathan Fielder was able to recreate the magic of the first season with something that I liked even more, unbelievable. So that's my number 5.
The Rehearsal did make it into my honorable mentions. I enjoyed the second season of The Rehearsal more than the first season. The whole first season where it kind of went off into him with this woman and the baby, it was very weird for me.
It did get weird.
And I wanted it to be more of a focus on what the first couple episodes was, which was him helping people rehearse life situations. Like, that's what I wanted. And this season, although it did kind of go astray a little bit again, it felt more focused and it felt more like that's what he was doing.
Mhm.
It was like an ultimate rehearsal. But Geoff, I agree with you. Like, just his commitment to everything that he does, for better or for worse, like, is
Extraordinary.
just incredible. I just, yeah, I love everything that Nathan Fielder does. He's so funny and so committed.
Shout out to The Curse.
Yeah, I have not watched either season of The Rehearsal, and I probably said at the beginning, I've seen everything I want to see in 2025. If there's anything I ever do go back and watch that I didn't watch in 2025, I feel like it could be The Rehearsal, just because I'm curious about it. But I probably would watch the first season first. So
yeah, it's
that's
very
all I
fun.
have to add to that. I do know a lot of people who like it.
Yeah.
Me.
Including Geoff.
All right. So my number 5 is Hacks. I don't know that I have too much to add to what was already said and what I said, but I just, this show just doesn't miss that much, and it's so enjoyable, and I'm excited to see where this last season will go, hopefully in a non-confrontational, good way. All right, Ben, let's hear your number 4.
My number 4 is Pluribus,
Nice.
which we discussed at the beginning. Vince Gilligan's follow-up to Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and given a seemingly unlimited budget from Apple, which is fun because in 2025 you don't see a lot of shows that are operating in that way. And I won't spoil too much of it since you two haven't seen it, and it sounds like you do plan to see it.
Yes.
I just watched the penultimate episode last night, so and they only have one more episode dropping as of this recording, and I really love it. It's when you watch the first episode, it is not the first episode is not the show you think it is, and then the second episode is totally different. You're like, oh, this is what this show is, but. And then even subsequent episodes like kind of take different directions, and they never quite they so often the plot kind of zags when you expect it to zig, and that's, I think, it doesn't go where you expect it to. I think Vince Gilligan famously with Breaking Bad would create these situations and not know how to get out of them. Like when he first not like when he first created them, and then they figure it out. Like he kept it all. I think so many shows stick to their plan the whole way through, sometimes to their detriment. How much your mother being the most obvious example.
Shut your mouth.
But that's also true, I think, even for some of these more high concept dramas. I'm sure something like Severance, they probably know where they're going.
Right.
I don't know that Vince Gilligan knows where he's going with this, and I love that. And I know he didn't for Breaking Bad. And but the absolute reason to watch above all else is Rhea Seehorn, who is unbelievably good in this. One of my kind of co-performances of the year. I'll get to the other one in a minute, but she is unbelievably good in this. She is just carrying the show. There are entire episodes where she is the only person who basically speaks in the entire episode. But she is captivating. She is so interesting. She can do so much with her expressions. She can do so much with her, just the way she carries herself. It's a very interesting twist on kind of an apocalyptic sci-fi approach to things. It is not what we've ever seen before. And I definitely think everybody should watch Pluribus. I am very curious to see where it goes in future seasons too. It's already been renewed for a second season.
You did a really good job selling it. Nice job.
I look forward to hearing what you guys think of it.
I can't wait.
And this is one of those ones that I've been telling a lot of people you need to watch this.
Right.
And it is a little sci-fi and I like it. What? So I mean, crazy. if this is like how Last of Us kind of broke through for me too.
Right.
Like it's
has to be semi-grounded.
Yeah. And I will also say, no offense to those who have Severance on their list, but I going back to Severance after watching Pluribus. Like I'm like, this is what I want the Apple sci-fi experience to be.
Yeah, right.
Really, really, really great show.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be probably the one that we binge between Christmas and the New Year, because
I'm also curious how it will work as a binge. Because I've been watching it on a weekly basis.
True. Yeah.
I'm curious how it will feel as a binge.
Well, to be fair, when I say binge,
well, I know you don't mean like,
we won't sit down and watch
we'll probably
the whole
watch
thing,
it in a closer time frame than
correct.
2 months.
Yeah, we'll probably watch it over the course of a week or so.
So yeah,
time permitting.
Very curious to hear what you think.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Geoff, you're number 4.
You guys already talked about it, but Adolescence. Ben, one of my notes, and I wrote this before, is one shot is more than a gimmick. So which you called out, which was great. And I talked about that show ad nauseum when we just referenced it, so I won't speak much more. Every episode stands out. Incredible supporting performances, incredible lead performances, and the evolution of the show is truly a marvel. I was floored by this. My highest rated limited series of the year. Actually, my only limited series of the year, which is Slayers. But yeah, loved Adolescence. We already talked about it. We can move on.
Cool. My number 4 is Adults.
I'm actually surprised it's only number 4.
Right? I surprisingly, like, Ben just mentioned this offhand like once, and that it was like coming out, and
I didn't even watch it. I just said
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, it wasn't even like, oh, I watched this and it's good. He just happened to mention it, and I was like, oh, I'll watch that. And it was so funny from the very first opening scene of the first episode where they encounter a man masturbating on a train to like it just really set the scene and the tone for how that show is going to go. And it is just so funny. And it's such a quick watch. There's only 8 episodes, I think. They're like 25 minutes a piece or whatever. So it's so fast, which is the reason why I've come back to it a couple times throughout this year, because it's very easy to just throw on and have in the background. But Have You Seen This Man is by far my favorite episode.
It's so good.
And sometimes I just randomly will find myself quoting, actually not anything that has to do with the murderer, but when Paul Baker and I'm forgetting his name, go to the gun shop. Samir, go to the gun shop to try to sell his gun, and just the interaction between the owner of the shop and Paul Baker.
Yeah.
And I love his line reading of, what is the spectrum of your language? Because he understands what queer baiting is, but he doesn't know. I forget what the thing is that he doesn't know, but he's just going back and forth. And oh my gosh, it's so funny. That is definitely one that I was not expecting, and I just really, really enjoyed it. I am so looking forward to a second season with these characters.
Can't wait.
Nice.
Yeah. Ben, your number 3.
My number 3 is The Lowdown.
Oh, nice.
Which I know Geoff mentioned is one of the ones that he has not seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the multiple fall shows that really captured me on a weekly basis. It stars Ethan Hawke. Now, I didn't know a lot about Ethan Hawke because he's mostly a movie person.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Dead Poet Society, but other than that, I don't know that I'd ever seen him in anything until I saw him in The Good Lord Bird a few years ago, which is a Showtime show, and he was fascinating in that show, and I just thought he was so interesting, and this is even better. He is such an interesting actor, and this show is the follow-up from Sterling Harjo to Reservation Dogs, which was a show I couldn't get into despite every critic under the sun loving. And I felt a little guilty about that with Reservation Dogs because I felt like, what am I missing here?
Right.
And so I was a little unsure of this and a little unsure of the tone, but boy, it is really a really fascinating show. It's set in Tulsa. It's about, he plays a truth historian, which is a self-invented term of somebody who kind of runs a newspaper, but then gets kind of wrapped up in this crime mystery thing. But it's not really about the mystery. It's kind of about him just being with these different people on a week-to-week basis. So he's with Jan Triplehorn one week. He's with his on-screen daughter, who's excellent. Ryan Kira Armstrong is her name. And then the best episode of the season, he is guest stars Peter Dinklage as a kind of a frenemy of Ethan Hawke, and the two of them spend the entire episode just like fighting with each other while also trying to solve like the next step of the mystery. Ethan Hawke is so good in this, and this is why a couple of these performances this year were just exceptional. He's not the person I was referring to as my co-performance of the year, but he was excellent too. He's probably like a number 3 behind Rhea Seehorn and somebody I haven't mentioned yet. And it's got a very kind of fun noir feel to it. It's very comedic, but it's also got like a serious plot line. It's a really, really, really great show. I would definitely recommend. It didn't seem like a lot of people were into it aside from like the TV critics circle. It didn't seem like it got a lot of attention, and I'm hopeful that it will get a second season. I'm a little doubtful it will, but I really enjoyed this. It was a very, very fun watch.
Awesome. Yeah, it's on my. I'm looking forward to watching it, catching up.
Yeah, undecided if I'll watch it.
Yeah, I don't. You might like it. It's you'd like it more than Death by Lightning, that's for sure.
And I will say, on the Ethan Hawke point, we'll probably talk about him a little bit more in the movies, our top movies of the year, potentially. I don't know where Blue Moon sits on your list, but he'll be in the Oscar conversation for Blue Moon, which I'm really excited for him. I haven't seen that yet. Really excited to see that movie. But I know what we should do for the podcast is do a trilogy binge of the Before trilogy.
Oh,
with Julie Delpy, directed by Richard Linklater. Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. 3 spectacular
He's
movies.
such a good actor.
He's a very good actor.
Very interesting to watch.
Yeah. All right, Geoff, you're number 3.
You both already mentioned the show, but Hacks. I will just add a little bit more to it and just say shout out to Julianne Nicholson and Robbie Hoffman as Dance Mom
Yes.
and Randy,
Yes.
respectively. Just Randy being added to the Paul W. Downs and Megan Statler craziness is amazing. As with Julianne Nicholson, I love that there's an aspect of the show that just can get weird beyond Deborah and Ava.
Yeah.
And I love it so much. And the show is so coded to my interests, and I'm a big fan of it. So love Hacks. Cannot wait for the final season.
Yeah, agreed. My number 3 is English Teacher.
Nice.
All of the problematic portions of it aside, it's so funny. Like, it is such a good show. Season 2 did not disappoint.
Nope.
On the heels of season 1, and just I felt like every episode, like we were listing earlier, like this episode and this episode, when this happened. It's just such a good show. And it is funny because, Ben, I agree with you. Brian Jordan Alvarez is such an annoying character. Like, he's such a, like, know-it-all, try to be, like, a good doer or whatever, but he's, like, almost always in the wrong. It's kind of like Michael Scott, where, like, everyone else around him is like, no, that what you're doing is bad. Like, and yet it's still so funny,
So good.
even with that, which is incredible, I think. A testament to the show. So, while I'm sad to see it end, I totally understand why, and we'll always have these 2 seasons.
You will.
I hope that it maybe inspires some other shows to do something similar, because I did really like that they had this school setting where they really tackled, like, things that I'm not a teacher, but I assume are very relevant and happening in today's day and age, more so than, like, Abbott kind of does this a little bit, but like
it's
English
a
Teacher
sanitized broadcast
really
version.
like
Yeah.
went deep into it.
Both Abbott and English Teacher have been better at capturing like teaching than a lot of shows that came before.
Yeah. So yes, just a very good show. All right, Ben, your number 2.
My number 2 is Task.
Oh,
from HBO. Did you finish that, Geoff?
I think I've watched the first 4 episodes.
So you have not gotten to the really good stuff.
I was about to ask. I did notice in my serialized account that the ratings do jump at episode 5.
So Task is a Philly area set crime drama starring Mark Ruffalo and Tom Pelphrey. And
Sir Kristen Cole from House of the Dragon fame for people who...
It is also, when I first heard like Philly set crime drama, I was picturing like kind of a gritty urban drama, but it's not. It's about like rural.
Yeah.
Like it's about rural Eastern Pennsylvania, and feels like a lot more closer to like a type of area where we live to me than like the city of Philadelphia.
When you hear the accents in the show, it sounds almost Baltimore.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of
and it has Ritas in it, so
That's
you know
true.
you got that. But this show does not go where you think it's going to go, and I'm going to try not to spoil too much since Geoff needs to finish this.
No, you can spoil it. It's fine.
You spend the first several episodes, you know, kind of knowing these two are going to head on a collision course with each other. Mark Ruffalo being kind of a troubled, you know, law enforcement person who's got his own baggage, and then Tom Pelphrey being kind of a family man who also is kind of involved in some shady dealings. And you just know they don't share any scenes together for at least, I don't know if they've shared a scene yet where you are, but
not yet.
I can't remember when it happens, but they don't for a long time, and you just see them kind of on this course towards each other, and you kind of are heavily anticipating when they're going to finally be in a scene together. And once they are, then it's just like this roller coaster the rest of the way.
Amazing.
The 6th episode, which is the next to last episode, one of the things I loved about this show was the way, you know, I talked about this a little bit with other shows, but where it doesn't go where you expect to go, in the sense of that the beginning of the 6th episode, which is the next last episode, plays like the end of a series. Plays like the first like 20 to 30 minutes as this extended scene in the woods, and it plays like what you would see in the last 30 minutes before the epilogue of a season finale.
Yep.
And the fact they do it at the beginning of the penultimate episode is fascinating. And because then they have more to tell, they have more places to go, and it's a really exceptional cast on top of Mark Ruffalo and Tom Pelphrey, who are both great.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed it's coming back for a second season, only because I think it's so perfectly contained as a story.
Yep.
And there's a lot of characters that don't make it out of this season. No, I won't spoil who, but like, I'm curious what a second season will even look like. This was the same creator who did Mayor of Easttown, which I absolutely loved a few years ago, and very much stayed as a limited series. And I was fine with that. I'm very leery of a second season because I felt like this was just the story it needed to be. But yeah, very, very happy with this show. And I will give a shout out to my favorite podcast to watch, because they talk about this show all the time, because they're both from Philly. And I think that probably upped my interest in it too.
Yeah.
Because it was not universally acclaimed by critics in the way that some of the others that are towards the top of my list were, like The Lowdown and Pluribus and my number one. But I really enjoyed it.
This is, so far from what I've seen, I'm so on it. I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued enough to keep going with it. But knowing that it steps up by the end and meets this incredibly high standard of yours, I think is great. So very excited to check out the rest of the season.
All right, Geoff, let's hear your number 2.
My number 2 is The Studio. The Studio
I knew
is
what your top 2 were. I just didn't know what order.
Yeah, The Studio is my highest rated comedy. After watching the first 2 episode drop that they did to start the season, I was sold. Could not have been more sold on the idea of a TV show, and then the execution that was done over the course of the season is amazing. Every actor, every character is given their own sort of light. Everyone shines spectacularly. They're given just the right amount of screen time, and I'm obsessed with it. The directions that they take with some of these episodes, whether it be shooting episode like a one take, or having it be like a Chinatown-esque noir in search of these missing film reels, or spending a day at the Golden Globes, or the whole 2-episode stretch of CinemaCon, which was extraordinary in how that was executed. I'm so excited to see where this goes for a second season, and the ideas that have been floated around, I'm so high on. I'm so excited about. Thank you, Sal Saperstein.
I'll just jump in here. My number 2 is also The Studio.
Nice.
So
Yes.
may as well talk about it now. But I agree with everything Geoff said. I just thought obviously Geoff and I are very into movies, so a TV show about movies being made is a very interesting concept to me. I loved the cast and how everyone fit together. And while Seth Rogen did stress me out a lot because of the situations he got himself into and the decisions that he made, particularly in the Oneer and the Golden Globes episode.
Gracious.
I was like, oh my God, just
cringy.
Right?
Unbelievable.
Like, so cringe, but it was just such a good show, and the production quality was right up there too. So it was one of those where my enjoyment of the show was high and the production value was high. And so it's a darn good show.
It's a great show.
Studio is an honorable mention for me.
Yep.
I definitely appreciate it. The highs were very high for me. It wasn't very consistent for me. There were some episodes I really didn't care for, but when I really liked it, I loved the Oneer episode. Loved Zoe Kravitz on the show.
Zoe Kravitz was so
Seth Rogen, is so funny. It's a show that has stuck with me, and that I have appreciated in hindsight, maybe a little more than I appreciated at the time. But I still felt like, for me, the middle part of the season really dipped hardcore for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I couldn't quite bring myself to put it on my top 10.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I have a prediction. I had a prediction going into this, what everyone's number 1 was going to be.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Good.
I have the same
Should
number
we say it on
1.
the count of 3?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
The Pit. Why? It
This
couldn't be
should not
anything
be
else.
surprising to anyone who has listened to us talk about TV at all this year.
Who wants to go first?
Let's all do it together.
Let's just talk at the same
Chaos
time.
all in there. I mean, okay, I'll get started. I'll be quick. It's 24 meets ER. the idea of that is amazing. And the fact that it just built and built and built when it started with some basic storylines that were given their own little room to breathe over a couple episodes and then go away. And then there were some ongoing ones that kept going and then other ones that came back, all ending with this insane climax that felt unrealistic yet so realistic all at the same time. And then you have like an Avengers Endgame-esque on your left moment when everything happens at the end of this season with people that you don't have a ongoing relationship with, but they come in and you're like, okay, I know you mean business immediately. And it's just, oh my gosh, it is so good. All of the supporting doctors are amazing, well cast. So happy for Catherine Lanassa and so stoked for Noah Wiley. That his performance as Dr. Ravi is so effective and so good. I love this show so much.
Yeah. I kind of actually forgot about those like random people coming in the last episode. But I do remember saying to you when we were watching it, like, what a testament it was, because they were only in that last episode, but it was like by the end of the episode, like you knew exactly who they were, what kind of person they were. Like it was just so well formed around those characters. And I think all the characters throughout the entire season, like I felt so strongly about all of these characters, good or bad.
Yeah, right.
But like just I was so attached to them, and I can't even remember the last time that I was so excited about a TV show. Like every week I'd be like, do we have a new episode of The Pit yet? Oh my God, when is it? And then when it would finally be Friday, I'm like, let's watch The Pit. I'm so excited.
I would watch Thursday nights.
Yeah. So and honestly, I don't remember the last time that has happened where
it's
I
been
was
a
just
while.
so excited. And I am so pumped for season 2.
So
I
soon.
cannot
So
wait.
excited.
4th of July, baby. Let's see what's up.
I think The Pit is everything like the TV should be.
Yep.
Like it is, you know, a hospital procedural, the way that they've been doing since the 50s, you know. But yet it, like you said, it had 24 element mixed in with the real time kind of feel to it. And 15 episodes a year, you know, like coming out every year. That's what TV needs to be. But yet it was a level up from, you know, Chicago Med or, you know, something like that. Like it wasn't just a standard hospital network drama. And I think one of the things I really, really liked about it, among many, many things, but one of the things I really appreciated was, so when you have like a prestige drama show like Task or The Lowdown, or you're going through this season long arc or mystery, and you know, like they're going to keep doing red herrings and they're going to keep doing these things, you know. If you're like 7 episodes and I think we found the killer in episode 3. No, we obviously didn't, you know, because it's a 7 episode season. And then when you have a broadcast show, you know, it's mostly going to be tied up by the end of the episode, you know. So if you meet a patient in Chicago Med at the beginning of the episode, you know, they're going to be done by the end of the episode. The thing I loved about The Pit was these patients would come in and you didn't know if it was going to be 2 episodes, 3 episodes, 4 episodes. Are they going to be there? You know, you didn't know what this kind of story was. And it felt like that's what it's like in an ER. You didn't know when this character story was going to come to an end. Were they going to die? Were they going to just be let go? Were they going to figure it out?
I mean, there'd be some episodes where it's like they would be the focus of it, and
and then they'd just be a background character,
and then be like, oh yeah, 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there.
I just loved that like it made it so unpredictable in a way, in a very healthy, interesting way. And I loved that approach to the storytelling with that. My co-performance of the year with Rhea Seehorn is Noah Wiley. What an incredible, you know, to see him back in the scrubs, you know. And I didn't watch ER. I was, you know, I know my parents did, but it's like in the sense of like when you watch The West Wing, you wish like the government worked like President Bartlett's administration. I'm not saying it doesn't. But this is like one of those things where like if I had to go to the ER, I would want Dr. Ravi there. You know, I would trust him. That's the kind of, you know, and he's not without his own demons and without his own battles and things like that.
It's not shown in his work for the
and I like that the show celebrated people doing a good job at their work. You know, like we've been in so many years of anti-heroes and people who are just terrible individuals as characters, and these are people who are trying their best, and they're not perfect, and they make mistakes and they do dumb things and they have, ornery personalities in some cases, you know,
Right.
but they are all trying their best. It's what you hope like a workplace is. It's what you hope a medical workplace
Right.
is. Yeah, a great show.
Yeah.
Really, really wonderful. I love that we all had this. I was like, I thought we probably would,
Yeah.
but I wasn't
Same.
100% sure because of the studio, especially for you, Jeff.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not sure if Jeff's going to go one
I
or
had a
two,
feeling. I
but-
wanted to build up a little bit on. I was gonna make I was gonna write it down on like a sheet of
Yeah.
paper and then like put it face down and be like, "Pitt is everyone's number one," and then flip it over.
I did
like,
mention that to our other friends who will be joining us for the movie podcast, you know, because I think we're gonna have a lot more discrepancies there. But
Yeah.
but I did say I was like, I think Jeff, Amanda, and I are all gonna have the same number one for TV.
I think I might have said that to you too at some
Yeah.
point, but
I knew Jeff and I would have the same, but Ben, you were a bit of a wild card because obviously you watch a lot
I
more
watch a lot more,
TV than
yeah.
us. So
Mhm.
I was like, there could be something that
right.
really blew you out of the water even more.
Yeah.
Like there could have been another Ripley.
Yeah, there could have been. There could have
Like-
been. And I will say I have been preaching the Pit to anybody who will
Yep,
listen, and I've
same.
gotten a lot of people to watch it.
Same.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go season 2.
Yeah,
All right.
Should do-
So let's do honorable mentions
real quick.
really
and then
quick.
we'll recap. Just give our list. Like
Yep.
read
Yep,
through
yep,
it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So then let's
My
do-
honorable mentions. I think we talked about 2 of the 5. No, sorry, 2 of the 5 of these. My honorable mentions that we already mentioned were Adolescents in the Studio. My other honorable mentions are The Diplomat, which was the one that was very close to overtaking Abbott Elementary for 10th place. I thought best season of the 3 so far.
Nice.
Only Murders in the Building, which I thought had a renaissance season this year for me. For me, it was my favorite since the first season.
Mhm.
And I was very happy to see that. Although I'm very skeptical of them going to London.
Yeah.
And the 4 Seasons, which
Okay.
was a very breezy, easy watch.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoyed the vibe of that show.
Mhm.
I didn't like it enough to put it in the top 10, but and you know, I will say this didn't make my honorable mentions. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, but when I think back of 2025 and the shows, I was most like, oh man, what's going to happen this week on a week-to-week basis? It was The Pit.
Yep.
It was Task. It was Lowdown. It was Pluribus. It was White Lotus. So it was my top 5.
Mhm.
And then it was The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Yep. I love that, man.
Not a great show, but
Mhm.
definitely kept me engaged.
Yep.
All right.
So we talked about one of my like direct 5 honorable mentions. It was The Chair Company.
Mhm.
I'll also give a shout out to King of the Hill. Very happy that came back. Good return season. Had some fun with that. Shoresy, which was in my top 10 last year. Loved this season. A little bit smaller stakes with this season. That's the only reason it didn't make the cut this time around. South Park, back to form. Loved the 2 seasons drop. I was very
The whole news this year, South Park.
a little bit. What? Crazy. But I thought it was a very effective return to form. And with the season 27 and then pivoting based on what I assumed they were going to take the direction with the season, probably focusing a little bit on Charlie Kirk more than they ended up doing. And then kind of as like we talk about high highs, the only reason this show is in there, when I think about my best episodes of the year, I can't not include Paradise.
I knew you were going to say Paradise.
Episode 7 of
I was thinking
Paradise
about that.
is
I was like, is Jeff going to put Paradise on
one
his
of
list?
the most insane episodes of TV.
It did have one great episode.
Even the pilot. I love the pilot.
No.
The idea of the pilot was super intriguing, enough to the point where I was like, all right, I'm going to watch this. I will watch season 2. I'm into this. So it just for the episode 7 alone, it's an honorable.
That was a
mention.
great episode.
All right, Amanda.
All right. So most of these have already been mentioned. The Rehearsal, which I already talked about. St. Denis Medical Center, which I very recently started watching, and I'm actually all caught up on season 2, Ben.
Nice.
I was able to
Nice.
binge it a little bit,
Good
but
show.
it is. It just, it like most sitcoms, it took me a couple episodes to get in and for the characters to kind of get into their grooves and everything, but it's a really enjoyable
Yeah,
sitcom,
it is.
and that's all you can ask for sometimes. South Park, which again, like Jeff said, it feels, I don't want to say it feels like old South Park, but it does a little bit. And I enjoy, in the crazy times that we live in, I enjoy having a show where I can laugh with other people about what's happening in the world, because
Relax, guy.
it's too scary out there. So we just need to laugh about it sometimes.
Yeah.
And then also King of the Hill, which I was a little skeptical of the first episode. There was a lot of exposition and explaining where all the characters have been and what they've been doing for the past however many years.
Or Bill.
But it ended up being a really enjoyable season, and I'm hopeful that they're going to make more and we can continue with these characters' lives. I feel like it's not very often that we get an animated show where they actually age the characters and pick them up at a different point in their lives and try to do stories from there. And so
that is interesting.
Yeah. And you know, I thought it was way better than I was expecting it to be. I didn't have high expectations. So
they had some really good episodes thrown in there for sure.
Yeah. So those are my honorable mentions. So that brings us to the end of our top 10 TV shows of the year.
Should we state them real quick?
Yes. Sorry, I forgot. Ben,
all right.
Top 10.
Number 10, Abbott Elementary. 9, The Last of Us. 8, English Teacher. 7, Death by Lightning. 6, Hacks. 5, The White Lotus. 4, Pluribus. 3, The Lowdown. 2, Task. And 1, The Pit.
Geoff.
Number 10, Severance. Number 9, The Righteous Gemstones. Number 8, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Number 7, Adults. Number 6, English Teacher. Number 5, The Rehearsal. Number 4, Adolescence. Number 3, Hacks. Number 2, The Studio. And number 1, The Pit.
Number 10, Adolescence. Number 9, The Bear. Number 8, White Lotus. Number 7, The Chair Company. Number 6, Righteous Gemstones. Number 5, Hacks. Number 4, Adults. Number 3, English Teacher. Number 2, The Studio. And let's say it all together. Number 1, The Pit. This episode not sponsored by The Pit.
No. Or HBO, man.
But we could.
Maybe we should buy HBO.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Let's take out a loan. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our episode. Be sure to tune in next week where we will be doing the exact same thing, but talking about our top 10 movies of 2025.
We'll also bringing in some
special
friends.
Guests.
Yes. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a like or subscribe or rating or review. And thank you so much.
Follow us on all our social channels.
Follow us on all of our social channels.
And watch The Pit.
Thank you so much for listening, and we will see y'all next week.
To infinity and beyond!
Why so serious?
I am serious, and don't call me Shook.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.